Sonal madam, please begin. We are live now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Good afternoon to all of you, one and all present for this webinar. Myself, Sonal Puchara, Head of Department Applied Science and Humanities from PIT DS, Diploma Studies. Today's webinar is on NEP 2020, the bright future of higher education. And for that, our today's expert, so first of all, let me introduce today's expert, Ms. Priti Jhaveri, International SEL Trainer and Academic Counselor. She is zealous, energetic, and approachable. She calls herself a lifelong learner who believes that life does not become meaningful until you give meaning to it. In order to give meaning to life, she decided to work with adolescents and youth. In her career spanning of 23 years, she has been a certified trainer and an avid education counselor. In her current role, she is a freelance trainer conducting training, physical and online, across India, USA, and Dubai. Being a certified international trainer for life skill, Priti specializes in conducting a wide range of life skill and behavior modification programs aimed at inspiring and empowering the participants towards achieving success in their lives. Her programs tap on the ability, experience, knowledge, skill, and attitude of people. As a facilitator, her unique talent is in helping people learn through real life examples in a very simple way. She conducts programs for professionals, youth, teachers, and parents too. Preeti holds a postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling from the MS University, Baroda. She has been certified for professional certification in communication skill from Trinity College, London. And there is many more thing about Preeti, but not wasting much more time of the audience, I'm handing over the session to Preeti. Please, ma'am, you can continue.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to conduct one more session with Parul University. Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to meet your students once again. It
Yes,
was
ma'am.
amazing experience earlier, and I'm sure today also we're going to enjoy and learn a lot with all of us together.
Yes.
Well, today's topic is very, very interesting and very close to my heart. National Education Policy 2020 and the bright future of higher education. It's wonderful and really a talk of the town topic. Well, since I'm working with college students, so many students come forward and ask me the same question. Ma'am, what is our future education? How are we going to survive? How are we going to, what is going to be the next? Yes, so today is the answer. All my students also will get the answers by doing this small talk with all of you. Well, uh, what is the future of higher education in India? This is the question always being asked by everyone. And I'm very happy that I got an opportunity to talk about SDG 4, that is Sustainable Development Goal 4, which focuses more on quality education. Quality education, along with that, we want to know that NEP was started 2 years back, and now it is taking a speed in implementing it. Lot of workshops are going on, lot of conferences are going on, and there is a beautiful vision ahead. So this is a wonderful opportunity to understand the vision and where our country is heading towards, right? So if you look at, there are 4 goals ahead, but this we are especially for the higher education, we are only focusing on the 4th goal, that is quality education. So the NEP 2020 want to work and want to achieve these targets as soon as possible. By 2030 is the deadline. So multidisciplinary approach means there are a lot of things is I mean, it's a very vast term. If you understand that if the student wants to do, is doing science and wants to take up any other line, yes, he can take it up. So there is so much of availability available now. Educations and skills integration. We will take each one of them little more in detail as we proceed further. But yes, a very big difference and very important point to be talked upon is what is education and what is skills. So two things needs to be really discussed and really talked about little more in detail. Making education more inclusive. Inclusive generally, goes on with different different status of the economical status and the physical and mental status also, like special children also can be included in the same education system, or the private sector or the government sector can be at one pace. So there are a lot. It's again, each term is a very vast term. Effective regulation and allowing foreign university means what happens is nowadays our Indian students are flying to different countries to do their higher studies. Now, the goal that we want to achieve by 2030, we are trying that our goal is to bring foreign students to our country. So somewhere India needs to stand at par with other countries. And that's this goal mainly talked about. Again, as I said, the Indian students are going further for further studies in other countries because they all want to have holistic education. They all enjoy doing holistic education. And here we have more towards the teacher-oriented or maybe marks-oriented education. So from there, we all want holistic development, and that is why everybody is striving towards getting India at par for the country. Yes, so what is SDG? Let me talk a little bit more about it. The sustainable development of our India. The vision is we need to work and we need to bring up to a certain university or certain standard of education, which is just not getting over in few years, because earlier it so happened that new education system did not, I mean, the policy did not work, but so many changes have happened. But somehow these changes are not sustainable. So this time we have a beautiful vision ahead that we want to have a long-term change happening in Indian education system. So this sustainability transition, India is, if you look at the education sector, it is in a transition phase. It is in a development phase. It's like, renovation happening in Indian education system. And when we want to have a long-term sustainable project, many things are changing and many things needs to be worked upon. Yesterday, we will be talking about the ifs and buts and whys and what are the challenges about it. But still, what is the future and how we can achieve the future is going to be the key points of today's talk. The education for sustainability includes pedagogies and also includes certain economic conditions, certain competencies, right? And of course, just not working on these things tips and bits, but monitoring the entire sustainable development for till you achieve your goal and furthermore. So that's the monitoring and evaluation is a continuous process till we achieve our goal. And that's the idea behind the sustainable transition, which is going to happen till by 2030. Well, key principles of NEP, if you focus, is going to be more on respect for diversity and local context. All right. So in all, the curriculum and pedagogy policy is also being worked upon. right? They want equity and inclusion. So we want all the decision is just not happening at one point, but there are so many committees are involved, and it's a joint decision that takes place. So because India is a diverse cultures, and all culture needs to be included. It should not be any of the cultures should be excluded and given an opportunity to study differently. No. So that is the main idea, that all community participation will be included, and one country, one education system is another goal, and the most important goal of NEP. Well, use of technology is very, very important. Of course, the government is also focusing more on a blended learning. And that was a lecture, that was a class which I had given the last year with Parul University, if I'm not wrong. And yes, the blended learning it should be the part and parcel of our life now, because there are many reasons behind. Well, the lot of emphasis is going to be added on conceptual understanding and not teaching. All right. So the concept, how well you have understood, that is going to be the more important. And rather than rote learning, it should not be the studying for exam, but it should be studying for self-development. So that's the key focus is we need to understand that how we can achieve it. Unique capabilities, like every person has their own way of their own strengths and their own thinking, their own creativity, right? So we all need to understand that we work up to our own strengths and potentials and work for our own self-development, not for, again, marks. So let's all, work together and achieve our the change in ourselves, as well as it should be also achieving our life to the next level. All right. Again, it's just not going to happen overnight. So it needs a lot of assessment, lot of efforts. And even if you achieve it, it needs a lot of continuous review, right? So this is also very important principles. We should know it. Major reforms on higher education. I'm sure you must have done all these things, but let me just brief them in short, that major reforms in education is 100% gross enrollment ratio is required. The government invests in education sector is going to be reaching to 6% GDP. Right, so these are certain technical points which we all probably, I'm sure you must have discussed. You are more interested how you can achieve this. Am I right? Yes. So the one more thing, because the session was, I was told to address even the teachers that how they can contribute in achieving these goals. So I'll be focusing more for students, how they can reach and how they can contribute in reaching to this goal of the sustainable development. Well, there's going to be the common norms for private and public education institutions. That's the best part I really liked in the entire system. That's why I felt I should be talking about it. Because I have been working with private institutions of the universities like colleges and the government institutions of the colleges. And I have found there's lot of changes. Of course, both the institutions have their own pros and cons or the benefits. But I feel all youth should get equal weightage, Another thing that I would love to talk about when you're discussing or when you're going further in this national education policy The Divyangs, yani special children or the special people should be friendly education software will be introduced because we have lot of limitations. I still remember when I used to work in schools, the students who were really differently abled had lot many things to go through, and I have worked with special children. So my own concern was also that, and I really found this national education policy is also going to be including the specially able children too, and the specially able students too, right? So there's lot of, again, the content was only either in English or in regional languages. But now I'm sure so many things, will be available. The virtual labs, the technology forums. So students will get good guidance. I'm really very happy with the use of technology part, which I felt that I should be sharing here with. That there's going to be the India is going to be changed very soon and very quickly. The changes we have started observing. So, well, the in short and in a nutshell, if we want to talk about the changes, will be more on focus, will be more on learning skills and not on teaching skills. Yes, we will be talking more in detail in that. So, what is the main difference between teaching and learning? That's we need to understand. But well, right now, if you understand where we want to start with, so the entire outcome is looking in nutshell that it should be learning. Of course, teaching is also a part of it, and assessment. So teaching, learning, assessment, and learning should be through technology and in an enhanced way, more qualitatively, which covers all the skills of 21st century learning skills. Now, before we go further, I felt the India has the highest, or the I should say, the most oldest spiritual culture. And that is the reason, the inclusion of our culture and our values is very important. So I am very, very happy with the new education policy highlights, if you look at it, that the focus is on literature. India has beautiful literature bank, and somewhere we are not using it, we are not valuing it, and that's the reason, the Indian roots are getting weaker, and we need to work on those roots too. Yes, the classical languages and literature. If you look at any language, each language has its own literature to. So India has a varied and very vast culture. I think if you look at the SWOT analysis of India, and I'm sure looking at the strength we have, I think the new education or the national education policy has included maximum of all the strengths and working on and cashing them in as their opportunities. So we should all leverage India's spiritual culture, and we should also learn how to patent them, because the whole world is working in their own way and they are way ahead, which we have already in our Indian community have already talked about it, have already so much of material, but we never claimed, we never showed that we have, our India has such a rich culture. Because nowadays when you are because of the internet and the blessing in disguise, if you connect with the different world healers and different world the spiritual people, oh, they are talking about Bible, they're talking about their own holy pusta, the holy books. But India was far behind, I mean far way ahead in their own religious culture, but we have never given the value to it because we've never given We have never understood for it, right? So I think this is the cherry on the cake. I feel that using the spiritual Indian culture and developing your spiritual self, that is also most important and a need of an hour. Well, one thing that I want to focus on the undergraduate programs, which was already happening. I think most of the students were not actually getting trained for the real life. That's what I found in my own experience. So even postgraduate programs were not sufficient enough to make them to survive in the real life when they are out of the college. The MPhil was, again, it's my personal experience. Probably some of the professors used to only take college jobs or the college professors post to complete their own MPhil and their own PhD. So that was another was the area. I mean, I may not be saying all professors, but some professors, especially they used to go to rural area, and then their focus was not on teaching learning, but their focus was more on completing their own MPhil and their own PhD. So I really found that this is also a very good step by government, and I'm sure it is definitely going to give us a lot of change in the next system. Well, now as we are in 21st century and we all are aware about these 21st century skills, I felt, just collaboration, creative problem solving, critical thinking, empathy, these are certain skills that are now needed not at college level, but the focus has shifted to school level. So the college also, of course, because the school students are going to be competing with today's college students after 17 years, 18 years. Yes, so today's youth need to update themselves, need to upgrade themselves in developing certain skills. Because right now we are, as I said, we are in transition period. Well, each period of our life is coming to us to allow us to grow out of it. So now it's time for a change. Let me go a little more in detail. If you talk about educational literacy, the assessment, curriculum, pedagogic, and emotional literacy and learning literacy, these are certain skills which are really needed for developing a better education. Critical literacy is equally important because unless you don't criticize yourself or the other, you will not know. I mean, of course, the healthy way critical literacy, which will not allow you to grow and have some creativity. So again, we all, even the teachers, when I talk about now, not only students, even the teacher fraternity is also supposed to learn these skills now. So certain 21st century fluency are like solution. You should be able to solve any problem. What happens if the problem comes to children and the students, they get scared and they are not believing in themselves? Okay, I'm able to, solve the problem. That's what is missing. The confidence is missing. Information fluency. Yes, we have a lot of information available. Why are we getting scared? I don't understand. So to need all these fluency, we need first thing is confidence. Confidence in our own self. Confidence in our own culture. Confidence in our own the strengths, right? So we all first need to work on the pedagogy. So what kind of pedagogical designs are expected in 21st century? So when I looked up the pedagogy word, I came up with beautiful explanation that there is a pedagogy, andragogy, and utagogy. So this is very, very important. Pedagogy right now, what is happening in India is teachers led. Everything is done by the teacher. Everywhere teachers are supposed to guide the students. Probably today's seminar or the webinar is also worked on, planned by teacher, and teachers are arranging it for students, right? So again, the focus or the leadership is shown by the teacher, and it is designed by a teacher. That's where, again, the receptive mode. People are waiting to get the reception. I mean, they are ready to receive, but they are not ready to do their own research. They are not ready to put their research in a cumulative way. So pedagogy is a very small thing now. But if you look at it, once you work on pedagogy, you grow towards andragogy, which is called self-directed learning, objective-based learning, an instructor or a guided learning. That's the next level of learning. Okay, maybe teachers can initiate, but students can, or the learning or the teaching learning process can go further towards students. Teachers can give a project to students, and the students do their own research. Students decide their own objective, and maybe they can, take the help of the teachers or the professors which are available for them as a guide or a mentor, right? So what is happening, what I have been watching and I have been observing in my career, that where teachers are doing all their efforts. If look at the school, look at the colleges, look at everywhere. Probably the computers were there before COVID, but then during COVID, all professors and teachers were made compulsory to learn technology and then provide platform to the students. Okay, we are at pedagogy stage now. But now next level, if you look at the activities in SDG 4, they want, what are the different activities you did to involve students, to develop the self-directed learning amongst the students. So the research has to be done by the students. The objectives has to be decided by the students. Let them work, let them bring it to teacher or the professor, and then professor can guide them. So these evolving theories of learning will help students to reach to the next level of learning, which is self-determined problem solving and self-adjusting. And it becomes more that the students are self-independent. All right. So this is what is very important, which I felt the teacher and the students both need to understand, because what I came across, that why are we supposed to do so many projects? Why can't teachers teach us? The students are not comfortable, right? So now it's time that I still remember when I was in college, my professor used to come to the classroom, give us a topic and talk a little bit about the topic and the subtopics, and that's all. We were supposed to go to library, open big books, and we need to make our own notes. And the examiner, during the examination, she or ma'am or the sir would ask questions, and we were supposed to write. I think that made us self-reliant. That process was really good. But nowadays, if you see, the books are ready, the question papers are ready, everything is at their doorsteps. Students are actually not doing any research. So this is the time we need to bring change in our own self. Effective teachers don't cover the curriculum. They don't complete the curriculum. They uncover it. They just give the one lecture and the project is to be prepared by the students. Let them do the research on their own. Now, I really want to first focus on teachers also, because these 7 habits of 21st century teachers are really the need of an hour. Teachers need to be a little innovative, relating with students, collaborating with students and the other teachers, and they are ready to share what they have done. They are ready to facilitate the students. They are ready to work on their own design so that they can guide further to the design, the students and their designs. They should be able to listen. That's another thing which is overall that I found, that the teachers and students need to develop the skills. This is the time of renovation. When your house is getting renovated, you will not wait for the house to get renovated and then go and stay. You will also renovate yourself in terms of skills. So when you talk about certain skills for teachers, see, or maybe for students, I would say, right? These are certain skills really needed for everyone to show their commitment. Like we all are now have to show our love for nation. We all need to work like soldiers. Whatever situation and whatever condition we are, we all need to work like soldiers. Have you seen or have you heard a soldier standing at the border and would say, "Arey, मैं क्या करूं? वो soldiers China वाले अंदर आ गए." No. Now everyone has to be a soldier for India. जब हम सब साथ मिलके करेंगे तभी तो कुछ पाएंगे. We all need to bring change. एक ही आदमी करते जाएगा तो कैसे होगा? ये रेनोवेशन कितने साल चलेगा? आप सोचिए, अगर एक घर को रेनोवेट करने में हमने 10 इंसान लगा दिए तो वो घर जल्दी रेनोवेट हो जाएगा. So this is the time to show your patriotism, your love for your nation, and your love for your education also. That is the reason I feel हर घर तिरंगा. So हर घर एक नया जोश आना चाहिए कि ये देश मेरा है और हमें अपने देश के लिए कुछ करना है. चाहे वो स्टूडेंट्स हो, चाहे वो टीचर्स हो, हमें मिलकर कुछ करना है. So these are certain skills we all need to work. We need to work, we need to understand how to organize everything. Because everything is in mess. Everything is in chaos. How do we organize? That's one thing we need to work on. Preparation, we need to prepare ourselves for the next coming years. We need to be innovative. We need to show our enthusiasm to learn and to teach further the technology. We also at the same time need to be social. And we should be ready to ask questions for ourselves and for others. We also should be making good stories. We should work for making good stories because one story is so infectious. One positive story can spread more positivity. Of course, to do all these things, the tolerance is the biggest missing link. We all need to be tolerant too. So common reasons for stress. Today, everyone is in stress because there is a big change coming in. When there is a big change, the first thing comes is excessive burden at the work. And social media is another burden, another nuisance. Earlier, we used to call TV as a nuisance box. But today, social media, you can't call it a nuisance box or because it's a beautiful platform if you know how to use it. Today, we are connecting with each other on this media, social media, right? So it's time saving. It has its own positivity. But if you know how to control, if you have the control over yourself, victimization, yes, some people may feel that victimization, हमें क्यों सहन करना है? It's again your own thoughts, right? Academic requirements. Lot of things are changing. So academically, lot of requirements are there. Teachers are stressed, students are stressed, everybody's confused. But don't worry. Financial instability is adding that towards the stress. And it all leads to incurable illnesses. As you all know, that COVID was जिसकी इम्यूनिटी कम है, इम्यूनिटी कम हो ही जाएगी अगर इफ यू आर स्ट्रेस्ड. तो हमको कोविड क्या सिखाने आया था कि भाई डोंट लूज योर इम्यूनिटी, स्टे हेल्दी, स्टे हैप्पी. Yes, and that's what we need to focus on. Because all illness starts with your own feeling, your own thoughts. Yes, your feeling comes from thoughts, your own behavior. I feel anxious. Why are you feeling anxious? Because I don't know what is happening. Then why are you worried? When you don't know what is going to happen, don't worry. Just relax. Just pray, focus in present. Learn to live in present and learn to work multidisciplinary way. Learn to develop skills along with the education. Work hard for making education more inclusive. Develop your relationship with people and try to support each other, because that's what you can do it now. When you don't know what is going to be your future, when you don't understand that how your past is going to help you. So just focus in present, live in present, and be mindful about what you are living in. Well, where do you see yourself? Are you content? Are you okay? Are you struggling? Or you're just stressed? Check it out. This is your life. I'm asking this question to teachers, students, and all the viewers. Just ask yourself, because the physical health and mental health, or the work balance between life and the professional life, personal and professional life, is the most important key that we need to focus right now today. The easy way to improve your work-life balance is to learn different skills. You work on your own self. The missing link is life skills. Physically, you need to be very healthy. So do some exercise. Your hormones will help you to balance. Socially, you should develop the relationship with more people, because you never know who's going to help you further. So work on your communication skills, work on your empathy, work on your social skills. The environment, yes, today we all need oxygen, and the environment, the nature is the best thing to relax you, all right? So work on growing the good environment around you. Try to be developing your relationship in such a way that your home environment, your work environment is so healthy and so refreshing. Start enjoying your work and then grow intellectually. When you're happy, when you're healthy, you will grow intellectually. Work on your emotional imbalance. Work on your emotional stressors. Work on your spiritual upgradation. Do some meditation, so do some yoga, do some pranayama. And living in present itself is the best thing to be to raise your spiritual quotient. So mindfulness, living in present, what is happening now, what is that is I need to do, focus in present itself will increase your spiritual quotient. And of course, in occupation, in business, in job, prepare yourself, grow your occupational quotient, learn new skills, learn to be with different culture. Don't wait that I will get something and then I will go. No, start doing it and you will start getting it. That's the first thing we all need to do it. Well, sometimes you need to invest in yourself. So here, I'm so happy that I got this opportunity, and this was announced on my 1st September, that this month I'm going to start a WhatsApp tips, giving tips on fostering social emotional learning, fostering some tips for youth, for teachers, and of course I work with parents also. So these are 3 communities where I'm going to start giving you some tips on WhatsApp. So tips, that's how the names and everything was announced before. When Madam contacted me, Sonal Madam contacted me, I was just, preparing this the campaign. And I'm so happy this Soulful September is going to be free for all the viewers and all the members who are listening me today. Just do one thing, take my number and send me a WhatsApp so I can connect with you and give you free tips for one full month. You can put your questions also if you have any. I will definitely try to address and help you out, as one of my project is Youth Care Awareness Campaign on Soulful September. So let's all of us grow soulfully. And now the time for asking questions. See, coming up, don't worry, students. The future of India is very bright. I can see very bright. Lot of, today, what is happening if one student is going to another country, right? It is spending, the parents are spending more than 20 lakhs rupees, right? Just to send a child for a higher studies. And then they are inviting some more stress. अब मुझे मेरे बेटे को job मिलेगा, अगर PR होगा कि नहीं, right? So why can't we make our country in such a way that the other country people coming to our India and study further? So let's come back, get together and make our India a golden chidia for incoming few years. I can see a beautiful India. I hope you are also able to see it. Yes. So, ma'am, over to you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. It's really a wonderful session, ma'am. And especially.
Should I stop sharing?
No, ma'am. It's okay. Fine. Take them to take. Let them to take your WhatsApp number so that they can connect. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
And it's really a very good initiative, ma'am. Really a very good initiative.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wish you all the best for.
If you can see. Thank you. Any questions you can see from the audience? I don't mind answering if there are any.
Yes, ma'am. One of the students had asked the question that you have suggested about that their physical, emotional, about life skill, right? So,
Right.
Somewhere they finding that lack of time. So how they can manage their time for this all the things to come up with us?
Very true, very true. Ma'am, giving this answer is of course, it's time management is a hot topic. I'm sure.
Yes.
So many lectures you must have done on time management. But what happens, I would rather say, because I used to take my classes for government students, and in that we have a formula, how to make your own calculation for that, what is your 1 hour worth for. And that formula will definitely, gives them कि मेरे 1 घंटे की कीमत क्या है. जब बच्चे खुद इसके ऊपर काम करेंगे, लेकिन मैं रेडीमेड फॉर्मूला जरूर दे दूंगी, पर फिर वो सीखेंगे नहीं, वो सुन लेंगे, देख लेंगे, पढ़ लेंगे, छोड़ देंगे, राइट? बट टाइम मैनेजमेंट में हम क्या करते हैं कि हम उनसे ही वो फॉर्मूला जनरेट करवाते हैं, और देन दे वर्क ऑन देयर टाइम कि मेरे 24 घंटे में से मेरे कितना घंटा में काम करती हूँ. ओके, सम टिप्स, एंड मुझे कितना पैसा कमाना है उसको डिवाइड करो. देखिए, अपना 1 घंटे की वैल्यू आपको खुद मिल जाएगी. और उसके बाद ये एक्सरसाइज के बाद हर एक बच्चा अपनी 1-1 मिनट बचा के काम करता है, और हर मिनट में एक नई स्किल सीखने की कोशिश करता है. So again, the answer remains with you. Google Baba is ready to give you all answers. But if Google Baba nahi milta hai kuch, so Google Baba is available for 1 full month. Take the best advantage.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, ma'am?
Definitely, ma'am. Student will take your benefit. Yes,
please.
Ma'am. And from my side, one of the question, one
Yes.
one request we can say. That
Yes.
Can you give some tips to our faculty also, ma'am, because faculties are also watching this webinar, so can you suggest some tips to them?
Definitely. See, again, as I said, certain skills is to be taught or to be learned by teachers also. So it's just not that the students have to struggle with the new skills, even teachers have to work with their own self. Okay, so what I believe that there is a concept called social emotional learning. You can check it out and you can do the Google also. There is a certain concept called social emotional learning. Now, I'll just to give you this answer, to give you some more understanding, as this question is very important for teachers. See, in 1990, World Health Organization had announced that if you want to survive in 21st century, you need to develop 3 domains in your as a skills as an individual, whether it is students, teacher, parents, sabji wala ho ya koi bhi ho, any individual अगर सर्वाइव करना है तो सबसे पहले सेल्फ डोमेन को जानो, अपने आप को जानो. Learn to know yourself and manage yourself well. If you know yourself well, if you know your competency, if you work on your own self, probably you will be able to manage other people better. Okay, so first domain is personal domain, that is self domain. The second domain is social domain, how to develop social relationship, because they are the most important. They are the most, if you don't handle them well, lot of stress generates. They are the root cause of the social understanding, is the root cause of all the stress, I guess, right? So one of the most important domain is social awareness and relationship management. The third domain, which is very, very, very important to manage both the domains, we all need to think out of the box. We all need to work creatively. We all need to develop our research skills. We all need to develop our innovative way of working. We have a program for adults in teaching these 3 domains. So as I said, I have a one-stop solution because I'm a teacher trainer. I do faculty training also, So the youth, teachers and parents, there are a lot of things they need to learn, they need to grow, and they need to actually experience. Because see, if I give you a lecture like this online, it will not help you, right? You may forget.
Definitely.
You may not even remember, or maybe you have screenshots, taken few things for yourself, but you will never reflect upon, right? So we all need to, in my trainings, I get 100% outcome, madam. I do spoken English program where all students start talking in 10 days. I just work on their confidence. It's not that they don't know. It's not that even as teacher, you don't know. It's just that we need to help you to bring it out and believe in yourself and go with the confidence. Nobody is perfect. It's okay to be not perfect. So there are many things I can tell the teachers, but let me stop here. And I hope I answered your question, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and definitely I will arrange your in-person session also, ma'am. Because you're not availability in this time period, I would like to invite you for a offline talk only. But as your availability is not there, so I have arranged your webinar, ma'am. And thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us and give very informative session, madam. On behalf of Parallel University, I'm very much thankful to you. I'm also very much thankful to our system support cell to arrange such a online platform for us to make this webinar successful. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
So should I leave the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
Good day, ma'am.
Good day. No,